Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's Sunday. It's casual.
I don't think it's
It's
casual. I'm not feeling very casual today.
Yeah, it's true. Mars and I were backstage, and like literally, I was like, "Yeah, like what?" We were like talking about movies, and she's like, "I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen this movie," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, so woke up and chose violence this morning.
It's a very violent Sunday.
Yeah, it is. But I know that you and I both have a lot of opinions, and we have some differing opinions about a couple of different things.
A lot of stuff.
Um, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be like mom and dad are fighting. Y'all kids are gonna be like, "Who's gonna take me?
Who are you going to spend your weekend with?
Who are you gonna spend your weekends with? Who we're gonna argue about who gets who on what holidays? It's not me. I don't celebrate holidays really. But we've got some news to talk about.
We do.
A few news things. There's a movie that came out. We'll be talking about that. And some comics. Spoiler alert. I didn't get any of my Marvel comic books until yesterday. And so, but hadn't read any of them. So I stayed up past my bedtime. I stayed up like 3 hours past my bedtime to read
That's
all
a
my
long
comic
time
books
for
last
Jen.
night.
That's a long time.
My bedtime is like 9 p.m. and I didn't go to bed until after midnight. So this is what I do for y'all.
So y'all better get excited about some goddamn comics this week.
I didn't read my books on Wednesday. So we'll have those to talk about. But I want to say hello to a couple people in the chat. Hello. Our friend Travis TM. Thank you so much for being here, friend. Or they say that I'll be back in an hour. So everyone
We'll be here in an hour.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, friend. Howdy, friends. Hot takes on the Batman. And John is apparently here for all of the hot takes on Batman.
There's a lot of hot takes about Batman. I hope y'all are ready. I hope you got your popcorn, your blueberry slushy ready because there's a lot of hot takes about Batman.
Your blueberry slurpee. Hello, Miguel Pool. Hey, guys. Hello, Niall. Super Stick Boy, good morning, all. And then our friend, officially unofficial geek, hello, Sunday people. And our friend Brandon, heyo. And our friend Damien. So a little story time here. Damien lives here in Portland, Oregon as well. And I went to my shop on Wednesday, as one does. And then I'm like checking out. And someone's like, hey, like I recognize you. And Damien says, hello, I'm Sleepy Reader 666. And finally met in person. So really great to meet you, friend.
A little cool people hang out in Portland.
There's a lot of really cool people here for sure. So that was really nice. Let's see here. DMET's best Sunday show on YouTube. Don't tell JP. I won't.
We appreciate you.
Aramis, hello. That was a really cool, really dope introduction. It really was. It was done by C-List E-Man, who is absolutely fantastic. I hope that he shows up at some point because he's a really cool dude.
Really rad dude. We love him.
Yep. And hello, Greg. Hello. Good morning. Mars chose violence again.
I think I always choose violence, y'all.
Yeah, the violence chooses us. Mars, what movie was it that you haven't seen? Do you want to?
I revealed to Jennifer this morning that as the cool goth girl that I am, I have never seen The Crow.
Whoops. And Mars broke my heart this morning by telling me she doesn't like, or when she watched it several years ago, a decade ago, she watched one of my favorite movies and didn't like it. And that movie was a little picture called The Rocky Horror Picture Show. I have seen that movie 1,000 times and I love it. I love it so much. I hate musicals.
Okay, I see that the chat is reacting as strongly as you did this morning by hearing I have never seen The Crow. So I will do some homework.
Yeah.
I will watch.
I was like, we're gonna cancel the Sunday show. We're gonna all go watch The Crow. And then we're going to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show. And then it's going to be a quadruple feature because then we're also going to go and watch Interview with the Vampire and subsequently Queen of the Damned.
So quintuple feature. It's going to be great.
Apparently everyone's here for the Batman hot takes. Let's see here. Hello, Jen and Mars. Hello, comic people. Justin, hey. Noggin Comics, hello, good morning. Thank you for being here, friend. I wish I was in Portland, Maine or Oregon, either one. I've never been to Maine. Too far away. I once again just appreciate opinions that are different than mine regarding independent books. I got a couple indie books this week.
I read one indie book this week. I did not feel like myself at all.
Yeah. You're getting a little bit of shame. Yep.
I'm getting a little shame. It's fine. It happens. Yeah. It's okay.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yep. I was mentioning you to Mars backstage, and that's why the crow showed up. So we'll go ahead and do we want to go ahead and start? There's just a little bit of news, so we'll go ahead and get into that, and then we can go ahead and get into
we'll full dive into the Batman, because it seems like that's what the majority of the people are here for.
Full dive into the Batman. So first of all, Batman came out this week. I didn't really know what to expect, other than I knew that this was going to be, like, Robert Pattinson from famous movies like The Lighthouse, where he jerks off thinking about
famous movies like The Lighthouse. I love that that's your first response, not famous movies like Twilight.
That's that. So here's the thing, is that I knew he was in Twilight. I've watched it, whatever, Sparkle Vampires. But then I watched The Lighthouse, and when it got announced that he was going to be playing Batman, I relied on my knowledge of him jerking off over mermaid puss in The Lighthouse, violently jerking off about mermaid puss in The Lighthouse and going crazy.
I've never seen that one either. It's one that's on the list. It's on the
spoiling
list.
It.
That one is I've already been spoiled that one. That one's on the list. I just have not had time to. It's been busy. There's too many comics to read.
Okay, yeah. So watch The Lighthouse, and to me, when I saw his performance in that, I'm like, okay, I see it. I can see him being emo Batman. Go ahead and get it. And I don't know what I think about this movie. Mars, I know you have some hot takes. Go ahead. I'm going to give you mediocre. I'm going to give you lukewarm takes. I need some hot takes first.
I hated this movie. I did not enjoy this movie at all. First off, I went into this, I'm like, okay, it's another Batman movie. I was like, it looks fairly decent. It looks like a Batman movie. I don't know what y'all wanted from me. It looks like a Batman movie. And before I start really talking about my feelings on the Batman, I think this movie just made me realize that I don't like Batman. I think it made me realize I don't like Batman.
Wow.
And I think it's funny you put up a little Batman spoiler thing, because I feel like I can actually talk about this movie without getting into spoilers. That's how average this movie is. First of all, this movie is 3 hours long.
That, I think, contributed to me feeling mediocre about it, because once again, I saw it at 7:30. It was past my bedtime by the movie end, and I'm like, I'm cranky. I want to go home.
This movie's 3 hours long. I saw it at 7:30. I'm literally sitting in my seat the whole time, squirming like this, because I'm like, I need something to actually happen. And I will admit, officially, unofficially geek hit it on the head. I feel like this movie is not for everybody, and I definitely was not the target demographic. It was really slow, really boring. I understand it was going more into the fact that, Batman is a detective, and that's great and all. And yeah, I like seeing Batman do detective work. But there were scenes that went on for way too long, and it overstayed their welcome, and I was getting really bored. To put it bluntly, there was a point where I went to the bathroom, I came back, and the same scene was still on, and they were still talking about the same old shit. And I'm like, I'm bored now. Can we move along to the next one?
My partner went to the bathroom at one point, and came back and was like, what happened? And it was just the moment where Batman and Alfred are like arguing, and I'm like, I don't know, like Batman was just like, you're not my real dad, Alfred. Like that was the only.
And that was the other thing. First of all, Batman is a dick to Alfred every single time Alfred is on screen, which makes me really sad because I kind of enjoyed Andy Serkis as Alfred, and I didn't think I was going to. And I'm like, yo, I want to see more of this Alfred. And I feel like Alfred got like 4 minutes of screen time, and it was really boring.
Not enough.
Let me preface. Let me talk about some of the stuff I did like, because I don't want to rail on this movie, even though I did kind of hate it. I really, really like Zoe Kravitz. I think she is the sexiest woman to ever exist, and I did not think that it was possible to get a sexier Catwoman than Michelle Pfeiffer. But she managed to do it.
Hot take. You're saying Halle Berry and Eartha Kitt?
We all know Halle Berry was not Catwoman. That was some mystical, magical creature that they created for their own being. Eartha Kitt was lovely, though, and I love Eartha Kitt.
I love Eartha Kitt.
I liked Zoe Kravitz. I liked her portrayal of Catwoman. She honestly felt like Selena Kyle for me. I really liked the on-screen chemistry between R. Pats and Zoe Kravitz. However, I am going to give them a -40 because they did not even blink. What is the point of all of this sexual tension if they don't boink?
I have a completely opposite feeling about that. And, you know, we talked about it a little bit backstage, but I felt absolute zero chemistry between those two. There was a moment where, like, Catwoman initiates a kiss with Batman, and it didn't feel right to me. I was like, ew. I didn't like it. To me, Batman, even though I was thirsty over Catwoman and Batman, not together, but I was thirsty over both the characters, but I felt like Batman was completely coded as asexual. Like Batman, the only thing Batman wants is his
vengeance.
Moby Dick, which is vengeance, or like, I am the law, whatever, you know, whatever he says. But I didn't feel any chemistry between them, but I thought that they coded Batman as asexual, and I appreciated that. I liked that.
I will say, seeing Gotham in the light that we saw was pretty cool. They really depict Gotham as this bleak, depressing place that really does need its own heroes, but at the same time, it's like the heroes create more chaos within the city. So I really did enjoy that. However, I'm going to come out and say something that a lot of people I feel like are going to disagree with me on. And I feel like I'm the only person who feels like this. And that is, I thought a lot of the fight scenes, which there were not many, because again, this was more of a slow burn detective, probably should have been an A24 film, but it wasn't an A24 film. I thought the few fight scenes we had were terribly choreographed, and I thought they were really, really bad. There was one fight scene in particular involving a hallway that I really liked. The other ones just kind of felt really disjointed and jarring, and there were some very, very weird cuts. That car chase in particular was extremely nauseating for me, because it felt like every 4 seconds there was another cut. And in terms of editing, it was just not very fun. The sound editing I thought was very good, though. I really liked that it felt like every time Batman was on screen, you heard him. You felt his presence. You could hear the fucking boots vibrate under your seat. And that was really, really cool.
It definitely, like, that theme song was like to me, it's like 2 notes away from being the Imperial Death March.
And I didn't like that.
Really? See, every time I heard it, I thought, okay, Darth Vader's going to show up. But I appreciated it. I like the music. Like, that's the theme song that I want running when I like get onto the, like, when I come on stage, or when I like am on screen.
I'm on screen.
Yeah.
I did not have fun with this movie. And that was the other thing too, is like, I feel like Batman should have a bunch of gadgets, and he had like no gadgets. He had a taser in the very beginning. I was like, okay, he's using some gadgets. I did not see a single goddamn Batarang. So what is the point? I also did not see a Batawang, which I was kind of hoping for. I mean, Brian Azzarello was credited to this movie, and so was Lee Bergermo. So I would feel like their one credit would be the Batawang. Like,
Would
come
be the
on.
Batwing.
And I don't know. And I did, and John had kind of talked about this earlier in the comments. You know, I did a ranking of my favorite Batman movies, and where they stand for me. And while I can understand while movies like, say, The Dark Knight might be objectively the best in some aspects, you know, it's very well critically acclaimed and all that. Batman Forever, for me, is like the pinnacle Batman movie. It is goofy. It is wacky. He's using gadgets. You've got these crazy criminals. Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Literally, you can't get any better than that. Like, it's just fun. And if I can't have fun during a superhero movie, what is the point?
I don't necessarily need to have fun during a superhero movie, but I miss some of the campiness. I wish they would have like leaned into that with Batman a little bit more. What I did appreciate so I feel like because of like my state of mind when I wasn't feeling the best during the day, so and like going and seeing the movie later at night, I'm like, is this clouding how I feel about seeing this 3-hour long movie? Maybe I need to see it at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon after like chugging an energy drink. Because I feel like I didn't love this movie. There were things that I didn't like about it, but I didn't hate it. Like I love the background. Unofficially Official Geek mentioned like The Crow talking about the Batman movie, and I agree with that. Like I feel like the backgrounds reminded me of The Crow. Some of the shots reminded me of that, and I loved how for the first time, I think that we get more scenes of Gotham as I feel like Gotham would look like, at least in this like modern setting. And I appreciate that Batman is definitely more of like a detective, and Batman is definitely like solving stuff, but I feel like it was really fucking easy. Like maybe other than the like he lies something or whatever it was. There's not a lot that I can say that I loved about this movie, other than like, okay, Batman is asexual and his Batwing play like, you know, isn't in the film. But I love Zoe as Catwoman.
Yeah, I think she's great. I would like a whole spinoff on her. Like, listen, we're already giving them spinoff TV shows and movies on HBO Max. Penguin, I think, is supposed to be getting one. We have the Batgirl movie that supposedly is in the same universe, I believe.
Okay.
And listen, y'all want to give somebody a spinoff show, just give it to Catwoman, because I would have no problems just watching her for 12 hours doing whatever it is she does. She is phenomenal. It felt like for the first time, Selena Kyle was on screen for me, because while I love Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, it doesn't feel like Selena Kyle from the comics. You know, it feels like a different, it's Tim Burton and what he wanted from the character.
Yeah.
And Jim Gordon was great. I do like Jim a lot.
I love Jeffrey Wright, I think is the actor's name. Loved him as Gordon.
I liked seeing Batman's relationships with some of these side characters. Listen here, God damn it. We are 5 live action Batmans in, and y'all gave me Jim Gordon's. Where the fuck is my live action Harvey Bullock? God damn it. I want a Harvey Bullock. Okay. That's all I ask. I don't ask for much more than that. Give me Harvey Bullock. But I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say it right here, right now. I would be totally okay if I never saw this movie ever again.
Wow. See, I'm opposite. I feel like I didn't have strong enough feelings where I'm like, I need to see it again. So you're telling me that in 30 days, when it's on HBO, you're not going to watch it over and over and over again?
No. If I'm going to be honest with you, I might go to YouTube. I might click on, Batwoman or Batman and Catwoman cutest scenes, and that's it. That's all I need.
Okay.
That's all I need.
Wow. I wish that one of the things that I really did love, I'll like leave the Batman at this, because I feel like I don't have a very good, like if I had to rate this movie on a scale of like 1 to 10, what would I rate it? I feel like it would maybe be like a solid 6.5, 7, but I feel like that's not accurate because my state of mind. But the thing that I loved about this is that it touched, for me at least, grabbed a lot of little pieces from lots of different stuff. Like it's spoiler alert, it starts on Halloween. So I'm like, okay, we're going to lean more into the like long Halloween aspect. And then there was obviously, I feel like costuming that felt designed by Gotham by Gaslight.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciated that there
was Batman ego influences. You could even see, I don't want to say it, but Batman damned influences on it. And it's
yeah.
just, and I think that's the thing is it took a lot of points from a lot of my least favorite Batman stories. And then that made me realize I don't think I actually like Batman. I like stories where Batman has his family and his supporting cast. But when it comes to just Batman by himself, I'm bored. I immediately want nothing to do with it.
See, I think that's what I liked about this, where there were moments where Gordon was his family, like it was like Lone Wolf and Cub. Like they're just like, you know, going along the countryside, solving crime. So I liked their chemistry. I felt like Gordon and Batman should have been the love interest of the movie.
Maybe
They were going to have some kissing moments, like they were both going to reach for the envelope at the same time and have like a little meet cute moment. And then like it would have like been a Valentine's Day card and Gordon would have been like, that's from me.
I think you just described something that we're going to see on Pornhub.com within roughly like 2 to 3 weeks, maybe. Maybe it's already out.
If not, you're gonna see it in Batman Year 18, Barely Legal.
Batman Year 18, Barely Legal.
The Comics Will Break Your Heart sponsored Batman.
I just want to have a casual conversation with Matt Reeves though, and I just want to like ask why he thought it was okay to make this bloated ass movie 3 hours long, because I'm gonna be honest, I could probably go in with my little cheesy editing software, cut this movie down to 2 hours, maybe 2.5, and it would be the same movie, but condensed and more concentrated. Because I'm the more and more I think about it, the more and more I did not like it. And I'm just like, there were scenes that dragged on for like 5, 6, 7 minutes that should have been 3.
Wow. I do agree. It was too long. At least for my sleepy brain where I'm like, I need to be in bed.
And I think one of the problems too is we just came off of Spider-Man No Way Home, which was the most fun I've ever had in a theater. You know, it was really a passion and a love for Spider-Man as a whole, as a character, you know, and the Spider-Man that maybe I grew up with, you know, from Tobey Maguire all the way through to Tom Holland and all those different generations. And that movie was so much fun. And I remember leaving the theater and immediately being like, I need to see this again. I had so much fun. Energy was there. And then to go into the Batman, which felt like I was walking into a funeral march and all.
Yeah.
It was just not fun for me.
See, I think that's what I liked about it. And I think that in the same way that you're like, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I don't like it. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I like it. Like I'm dissecting it, and it's like things that I'm like, okay, like I'm convincing myself that I like it. I definitely want to do. I feel like this movie it could have been like gaslit by Gotham. Like Gotham is literally like gaslighting Batman.
Gaslighting Batman.
Sorry.
I don't care for it.
Sorry, Greg.
Sorry, Greg. We'll discuss more about it when we do our live action Batman talk, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other things that I break your heart about. It's fine.
100%. I'm going to see this movie in like the morning or early afternoon.
I'm going to see it when I'm not in a theater and I can actually do other things while those long ass scenes drag out. Like I'm going to be, you know, cleaning my collectibles or washing my dishes as the Batman is just droning on and on. We'll see. Who knows?
I think the more and more I think about it, I really did like it, because when I'm like, you know, I liked it. That's weird. Well, it wasn't just the Batman that came out. I guess some news came out.
A couple things came out. So Aftershock came out in a article with Bleeding Cool, or I don't know if maybe they said something on their Twitter, but Aftershock, which published the hit comic in, what was it, 2021, We Live, which was a huge hit, critical success, was one of the biggest comics of that year. Went to several printings, and it was deemed that it was one of those comics where it's like people really didn't understand the hype behind it, and it felt like shops didn't order enough.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, with the way that the first series ended, it is getting I don't want to call it a sequel, but it's a continuation, but it's all starting off at a new number one. And apparently Aftershock was complaining that comic book shops have not ordered enough copies of this spin-off sequel title. And I'm not going to lie, there's something about that rubs me the wrong way, because you're asking comic book shops to spend their money and to use that risk to carry your book. And right now we are in a pandemic. We are in, a rough time right now where a lot of people are cutting back on maybe the things that they would buy normally. We also see that shift where people are going from print over to digital. So it's just the idea that, Aftershock, which seems to work very closely with comic book shops, they have these Aftershock ambassadors. They're always pushing for their creators to go and visit these shops, do signings. It just makes me really, really sad that they're kind of putting a blame on the comic book shops that, hey, you're not ordering enough of our book. And it's like, okay, well, then maybe you should put up some of your money and give, these shops some of your money. I don't know. It's one of those moments where it's like, I'm rooting for you. And then this happens.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like Aftershock should have done a better job of educating people that something like this was coming out, because it barely got on my radar, and especially with how much I enjoyed We Live and how much speculation it got, and especially, like, spoiler alert, like the issue number 5 sets up this whole world
universe
for We Live, and this could honestly be like the next Something is Killing the Children. It might be, I don't know, but I feel like
the book is going to sell itself. You don't need to kind of like twist a knife in with this.
Yeah, 100%. Like, better communication with the marketplace. Like, you can't rely on the comic book shops. Like, they've got a lot of stuff to do. They need to have better communication. Like, they need to either have posters or they need to have things like that, like marketing sent to them. But then Aftershock needs to drive, in my opinion, Aftershock, if you want people to buy your comic books and you want better sales from comic shops, like, you need to be responsible for driving some business to the shop. So I don't know.
It just seems very shitty, and it's not something I expected from Aftershock, and I'm kind of disappointed because I personally love Aftershock. I've been with them since they really were starting out with books like Animosity and Insects and Clan Killers, and now they've kind of exploded onto the scene with larger books like We Live. Yeah. So I don't know. I want it better from them. I'm personally still going to read the book, but it's just some things are better left not said. Okay.
Yeah. So we, Stapled Spine, we need, and we have questions and we need answers from this. This is your fun. No, I'm just kidding. Not at all. But I wish more companies did this, like, ambassador type thing. I wish that, I don't know, I like having like a local voice, maybe being able to go into shops and talk about these books. I feel like we needed a lot more communication because it's obviously on final order cutoff.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, or it already passed?
I believe it may have already passed if it's not upcoming.
Yeah. Probably should.
So,
speaking of, like, publishers and things like that, I don't know if you saw this, but Scout Comics, who's another independent comic publisher, they are going back to Diamond last year, in 2020, actually, right after the pandemic kind of started. Sales were slowing down. DC split from Diamond. Shortly after, maybe a month or two later, Scout Comics did the same thing and started using the same
distribution.
So now it sounds like starting in April, all the final order cutoffs are going to be through Diamond. How do you feel about that?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't realize that they had left Diamond.
Really?
I did not realize it, but now that you're saying it, I kind of vaguely remember something being along those lines. But honestly, Scout is, I mean, I like Scout. I don't want to say that I don't like Scout because I
Yeah.
like some of the work that they put out. I personally don't believe in their practices where they put out one issue and then 3-4 months later they put out issue 2.
I feel like maybe this is just a feeling that I'm getting, but I feel like they've been doing really good putting in a lot of one shots lately. So you don't have to like deal with that, especially the King Jira book that came out last week that I loved. So that was really cool. But I think that, I don't know if that has to do with a money thing or, sorry, it's the Luna portion of the show, y'all. I don't know. Okay, you can see him. See how big this dude is?
He's such a big boy.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
But I honestly think that a publisher like Scout, who is a much smaller press publisher, you know, they don't tend to have a lot of talk outside of maybe the little comic book community. I think it does make more sense for them to be with the bigger boys and to be with Lunar Distribution, or not Lunar, with Diamond Distribution, and, you know, kind of going through that mainframe. So I really hope for the best for them.
Same. Maybe them going back to Diamond might make their publishing schedule a little bit more consistent. That would
be great. Hope. That would be ideal.
I don't want to say that like going to Lunar caused that distribution, because obviously it didn't. But I maybe hopefully maybe it means like a different money flow, cash flow situation. That's the only reason why I assumed that they did it, is because maybe it's like they want to test out the waters to see when issue 1 comes out, if they need to like do a bigger print run for 2 and 3. So I think that might be why.
What else you got? There was some other, well, it wasn't news. It was definitely a topic of discussion this week.
This is definitely, like, for me, it was an interesting topic of discussion. So Stephanie Phillips, who is the current writer for Harley Quinn, issue 12 came out, and apparently there was a reviewer who said something along the lines of issue 12 of Harley Quinn is a slap. The creators are literally like slapping readers in the face with this book, like essentially saying that it's Harley Quinn isn't true to character, or whatever it is, whatever these people say. And it really got me thinking about what it is for people who review stuff who maybe don't, to me, it feels like people who aren't reading stuff reviewing it, like they aren't consuming it. And it's like whenever Batman doesn't even come out and people already like give it a thumbs down.
Yeah. And we saw something very similar happen last year with Tom Taylor and his Nightwing run, where there were some people that were very, very upset with his depiction of Barbara Gordon, were very upset that he wasn't making her handicapped anymore. And it was all this talk of handicap erasure. And Tom Taylor's just like, hey, I don't get to decide big picture things like that. I'm given a character and told that this is what I have to work with it. Mm-hmm. And it really was a matter of, you know, the same deal where it's like, tell me you don't read comics without telling me you don't read comics. And it's one thing to criticize a creator's work, but to do it like directly and to kind of quote unquote attack a creator. And I feel like with platforms like Twitter, where we have a lot more, you know, I can get in contact with my favorite writers. I can tell Tom Taylor, hey, I think your Nightwing run is the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah. Or I can message Brian Azzarello and be like, you are my arch nemesis. Let's go meet down at the corner and have a fight.
Or in my example, where Donnie Cates tweets a picture of him and his wife, and I'm like, y'all look like a couple looking for a unicorn. Like, y'all are looking for a threesome right here. Like,
that's just what social media has done. Yeah, and it's kind of given us this, I don't want to say this arm's length reach basically to our favorite creators, but it really has. And it comes down to a matter of, should you really have posted that? Like, sit down and think about it. Should you really have hit send on that tweet? Is it really appropriate right now? Yeah. And, you know, it's just kind of, it's bizarre. It's weird. And that's just the way that the internet grows, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it made me feel, I think the reason why I definitely wanted to bring this up about Stephanie Phillips and this reviewer, because not only did they like say things like that, like where, like, you know, this is a slap in the face to the readers. Like, no, it's probably just a slap in the face to you for whatever reason. Yeah. But it made me, and apparently this person like also blocked her on Twitter and things like that. And that just kind of feels weird. It feels like an ex who's like, my ex is
now.
crazy. but
was
I'm gonna
this
stop.
somebody who has, say, a platform, like maybe they write for a news platform or have a YouTube channel, or was it just somebody who has a Twitter and is
So
just spouting shit?
it sounds like they do have a platform. I don't know exactly who it is, because she's like, I'm not gonna like drive business to their site because at the end of the day, so much of, I think, not just reviewing comics, but like reviewing and like these discussions, it's like it's just clickbait where it's like, I've got the most extreme position on Batman, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
where it's just we we're creating fake outrage when most people would be like, this is a non-issue.
And it's unfortunate that I mean, it's a small price to pay with something like the internet and something like social media.
Yeah. So to me, like I said, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because I'm like, am I complicit in that? Like, am I the drama? Where
Am
like,
I the asshole?
am I the asshole? Like, am I the baddie? Where it's like, I also review these things and I definitely have a lot of opinions to have on these things. So like, am I that person that's like, Rick Remender, I don't know, writes all of his characters like they all cheat on their wives, and that's weird that like all of them, I don't know. So it's like, do I say some dumb shit about reviews, and am I
Oh, I know, I definitely have. I have flat out said multiple times Brian Azzarello should not be allowed to write women, people of color, or queer people. But you know, it is what it is.
You also accuse Mark Millar
Mark
of
Millar smelling his own farts.
like,
Yes, I did, and I'm very proud of that fact. And listen, that is one of my crowning achievements, and that is what I am known for. So I'm going to run with it.
yeah.
I am known as that dumbass YouTuber who said Mark Millar smells his own farts.
Yeah, so is this the equivalent of, and I'm not saying that she does, but this is the equivalent of being like Stephanie Phillips likes the smell of her own parts, which I don't agree. I mean, if
I think Stephanie Phillips is really cool.
I think that she is very cool, and I definitely don't think she's a fart smeller like so many people in the industry. So, you know, when I saw that, I'm like, man, am I complicit in that type of stuff? Whenever I started this, I'm like, I'm not going to ever say I hate anything because I don't want to be negative, and here I am.
It's just it is what it is. But I think that's all we have in terms of news-esque stuff. I know we ranted about the Batman for a solid
We
20,
did.
30 minutes, and then the rest of it we just talked about. So I think it's time to talk about what y'all are really here for. It's the whole point of our show, Casually Comics, and that is comic books. And I'm gonna be honest, it was a very bleh week.
Oh my God.
It was a bleh week. There was like one book that I'm like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. And then the rest of them, I'm like, take it or leave it.
Yeah. There were two or three for me where there were a lot of them. There were actually two or three where I'm like, I'm not gonna finish this. I didn't enjoy it enough, or I felt myself skimming through some of those books. So chat, let us know. Should we start with Marvel? Should we start with DC? Should we start with Independence?
And it's just,
Or Mars really matter?
You know that was a really weird week for me when I had one indie book. And if I'm being honest, can we count it as an indie book considering it's a DC imprint?
Yeah, not really. Because DC Black Label, in my opinion, isn't the same as Vertigo.
No, it's not. It's DC. It's DC Black Label.
Yeah.
So we do have some people that are immediately saying indies. So hopefully you have some indies to talk about.
I do. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna move my cat for this one. Sorry, Luna. But you're too big of a boy. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay. I don't have my books.
Everything for me is digital this week because I'm realizing moving into this new place that I have to exert a lot of effort to drive 30 minutes to go and get my comics, whereas I used to drive 5. So it is quite a change, and I don't like it.
It's so funny having gone from that where it was like, for me, where it was like, okay, got to drive 40 minutes to go to a comic book shop. Like, granted, I worked there, so I'm like, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of money. I'm gonna make a little bit of money, and spend all of it at the comic shop.
Spend all of it.
Yeah. So I'm glad that now, like, I have so many really cool comic shops. But let's see here. DC, why aren't you in a bag, little girl? Okay. I've got just raw comics hanging out. I don't know
Oh
why.
no, she's raw dogging it, y'all.
Raw dogging it. I did pick up a couple things from last week too. Why aren't y'all in bags? Okay. Okay. So my indies that I have for this week. So this one was from last week or the week before. I finally picked up Rockstar and Soft Boy.
Yay!
Absolutely loved it. It's a thick boy, but it's a one shot. I really liked it. I would have loved to see this be either like multiple issues or just collected as a graphic novel.
Mhm.
I know we talked about it last week, but
We did.
I really, really liked this book.
It's a really good book. Really great queer book.
I got Bolero issue 2, signed by Wyatt Kennedy. So I picked up one of the variant covers. And let's see. I also picked up from last week, We Ride Titans.
So all the books you missed last week, you got.
Yeah. Yep.
Good job. Proud of you.
Thank you. And I liked, not necessarily that I liked this issue more than this is issue 2. Not to say that I liked issue 2 more than issue 1. I felt like there was a little bit more action in it, and the artwork in this is absolutely incredible. So
It's beautiful.
We Ride Titans is fantastic. And it's only on issue 2, so you should be able to pick up those issues. Nidah's Nightmare blog. This book is just so good. I love this book, especially like at the end. Oh, you guys, it's so good. It's issue 5, so I think this ends the arc. So,
what do you prefer between that or Philadelphia if you had to pick one?
I like them both for completely different reasons, but I think I like Philadelphia better. But I still really, really like this book. Also, I got Radio Spaceman. This was it's part 1 of 2. This was really fun. I absolutely love the artwork by Greg Hinkle, and it's written by Mike Mignola.
I like that name, Hinkle.
Let's see what else I got. One of the books that I absolutely hated this week was Loaded Bible, even though Steve Orlando did it, and it's originally, and Tim Seeley. I think that's why Tim Seeley just hasn't been doing it for me lately.
No, he's definitely one of those that I feel like, I don't want to say has run his course, but he was very strong in the mid to early 2010s. And now I feel like we're seeing the same stuff over and over again. That was one of those books where I looked at it, I closed it, and I was like, yeah, that's not for me.
I got a book last week or the week before that he did, and it was a just like original graphic novel that he published with Dark Horse called Chronophage, and it was quite possibly one of the worst books I've ever read by him. So it was the artwork was beautiful, but I didn't really care for his writing. What else did I read? I read Crossover, issue 12, Donny Cates.
I heard there's a big thing with that.
Where, yes, I don't necessarily want to spoil it, but this book,
Do it.
So in Crossover, it's basically this whole like shared image universe, basically, and kind of lots of other superhero stuff, but crosses over into ours. Comic books are hated, like the majority of people, but each in this world, comic book creators are being killed off. So I think Brian K. Vaughan is dead, and so
Chip Zdarsky was on the run.
Chip Zdarsky was on the run, and that was the best one. But then in this one, it's Robert Kirkman, and there's someone who is revealed to be the person going and killing. Can I spoil it?
You can spoil it.
I'm going to take 30 seconds, count down. I'm going to spoil it. So the person who is revealed to be going around killing everyone is Negan from Walking Dead, who Robert Kirkman created.
Which makes a lot of sense, because who else from Image would go around just killing people?
Yeah, and it was really interesting. It sounds like that could be hokey because that's one of the most like popular characters. But the way that they talk about like, this is like, you fucked me up. Like, so he's basically having a conversation with Robert Kirkman. Like, you're the one that fucked me up. Like, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way or written this way.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting because now it feels like the characters that
this is what we had wanted from crossover from the beginning, though, was to see these characters kind of break that fourth wall and to have conversations with each other and with their creators. But it took 12 issues to do it.
Yes, I like this one. I know I like the series better than you do, but I feel like
I liked it in the beginning, and then I was like, we're going on far too long to get to a point where I want. I really, really love that Chip Zdarsky issue. I think it's probably one of the best, because that's one of those. It's one of those issues that you could read standalone. It almost feels like a one shot in this universe. But I would give that to almost anybody who was familiar with Image Comics and maybe with comic book creators. I just think it's brilliant. It has some really great conversations. That's one of those series that, when it comes, well, I mean, I know the first trade's already out. I'm just behind, but it's definitely one of those books I would trade read, because it sounds like it's finally getting to that point that I had been waiting for.
I think I saw in the back of the book. I'm going to open it just to make sure. So this is issue 12. The next one is, issue 13. Spoiler alert. But then in the back of this one, it says, the insanity concludes in the final chapter of Meanwhile, and then crossover. So I'm just like, does it mean that issue 13 is going to be
maybe there's one final arc?
Yeah. So that's what I'm guessing. So that's why I'm like, because it says Meanwhile, I'm like, wait, is that actually so anyways, it better be Donny Cates. I'm telling you, you've already written it.
Solid Blood.
It better be revealed that Solid Blood is a crossover. That's all I want in life.
So I have to catch up. Got it.
Yeah, catch up. One of the other books that I read this week, I read this cute little book by Scoot imprint by Scout, called Juniper. It was kind of adorable. It's like a fun little like fantasy adventure, but for kids. So it was a nice little palate cleanser.
Reminds me of, what is that one book that came out by Declan Shavy? It was an Oni, or maybe it was a Boom title. It was like Jonna and the Impossible. You got it.
Yep. Which I think volume 2 of that is about to come out in the coming weeks. Yes, this was definitely, there's moments in this that I'm like could have been completely taken from Jonna. One of the other books that I really, really liked, and this was Silver Sprocket, which is just a weird independent publisher, is Everything Sucks. And
I love Silver Sprocket. I think they're cool, and I wish that they were able to get more in, because I feel like they're only in select shops. I feel like they're hard to get in every single shop.
Very true. This book is like about some stoners who are like, let's go to like their version of White Castle. So they're going to go to this burger joint. Burger joint is closed for some reason. So anyways, it's really cute. And in the back of it, there's stickers.
Oh, love that. Yeah. More comics that come with stickers.
If you get this, you can get a big sticker that says, I read Everything Sucks. You can also get Only Losers Die with pizza. And then my personal favorite, for legal reasons, this is not a sticker of Garfield.
But it is.
For legal reasons, it's not.
For legal reasons, it's not.
So it's just adorable. I would definitely say this is for that, like, I don't know, I don't want to say Gen Z exclusively, but it was just really cute. Very on brand for Silver Sprocket. And
just seems like a lot of fun.
I liked it. Last book on my like indie list is probably one of my favorite books this week, Star Trek Discovery. Of course.
I'm like, what could be your favorite book of the week that I didn't even read, but that's on brand.
Yeah. So it's Adventures in the 32nd Century. So for those of you who don't know, Star Trek Discovery started at one point, but then now it's in a different century, obviously. But the reason why I love this so much is because in the second season, you get to meet this little cat named Grudge, who's on a ship with the captain of the ship is Book, and it's told from the point of the cat. It's absolutely adorable. It 100% follows the like second and third, or sorry, more the third season. So Or I'm sorry, maybe the fourth one. So anyways, I loved this book. I love this book so much. I love Star Trek Discovery.
Seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah. That was all my independent books. I'm really surprised that you didn't read any indies.
I didn't read anything. It was, listen, I had a struggle to read things because I was like, oh, I'm only reading like 3 books this week. Let me add some extra ones in there, kind of get something to talk about.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of there. Oh, it's all right. It all works out in the end.
What do you want to go? So for the most part now we just have DC and we have Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to start off with? I think someone said DC earlier.
Someone said DC. So let's talk about DC.
Okay. One of the only books I think you said you read was Dark Knights of Steel. Is that right?
No, I've read 3 this week.
Oh, 3. Okay, so what were the 3?
So Dark Knights of Steel, we'll kind of talk about that. Dark Knights of Steel, this was issue number 5.
Mm-hmm.
I love this series. I know John's not a big fan of it, but I personally just, I love the world building in this. I love Tom Taylor when he does these really fantastical things. And it's a treat. It's fun. This issue in particular focuses on Harley and Ivy. And listen, I've always been that person that, supports them together because obviously we need more gays in the world and in comics. But I've never really understood their relationship or really been like, oh, this is so cute. There's a tender moment in this issue where Ivy's like, listen, I'll do what you want me to do, but in return, you're going to stay here and you're going to live with me. And Harley's just like, we're doing this again. We do this every single time. And I'm like, this is some cute shit. I kind of like this. I would read 10 more pages or 10 more issues of just this. It was very cute. It was very much enjoyable. I very much liked it. However, Mr. Tom Taylor, we got to talk. Because what is your grudge against Superman? Because I feel like you write Superman evil every time you get your hands on this boy. And I just do not like him. Because that's okay if you don't. I'm not a big fan of Superman, but I'm getting really just annoyed of this Superman is evil trope over and over and over again, especially when it keeps coming from Tom Taylor. That being said, I still like this book.
Yeah, I love this one. The last issue was like slower.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one I feel like completely picked up the pace, especially like you said in the forest. Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are having their moment. I thought that was great. And there are some moments between Wonder Woman and Supergirl. Is that they're gay. They're gay.
They kiss in like issue 2. Listen, Tom Taylor, I don't know how many times I gotta thank you for being the people's champion of the gays and being the biggest gay ally I've ever seen in my entire life. Because I'm actually trying to think in my head, are there any books that he writes where all the characters are straight? I think the answer is no. I think there are queer characters in everything he writes. 7 Secrets, Nightwing. Well, Nightwing doesn't have, Nightwing has, there are queer like backgrounds. There's queer like talk, but there's no queer characters. So we'll say Superman Son of Kal-El, Dark Knights of Steel, 7 Secrets, his Suicide Squad run.
Yeah.
Which featured a non-binary character. So everything that Tom Taylor writes is gay.
It's at least a little bit gay. I love it.
It's a little bit gay, and I love it. I'm here for it.
One of the things that did come out this week was this one called Dark Knights of Steel, The Gathering Storm. And it's basically the first 3 issues. So it's a thicker boy, and it was only $5.99. Or maybe it was $6.99. But you basically get the first 3 issues.
Which makes me really mad because I have the first 3 issues.
Yeah, but I thought that this was really nice, especially for people who it's like they've heard good things, and it's going to be a 12-issue miniseries, so that would mean there would end up being 4. I think it's a great idea to get people caught up on it relatively, I guess. Or maybe they couldn't have picked up issues 1, 2, and 3, but issues 4, 5. Well, this one's issues 5. They could just pick up issues 4 and 5 after this and catch up.
I'm still hoping, because you mentioned, that this book is only a 12-issue miniseries. I'm hoping that this turns into like another Injustice, where we get, with Injustice, we saw year 1, year 2, year 3. We saw little spin-offs here and there. I want to see this universe. I don't want to say bloated, but I want to see this universe expanded upon, because there are so many characters that you can work with in creative ways, and I just want to see more of that.
Yeah. I want to see 100% like Birds of Prey.
Oh,
Like I want to see like a whole like Game of Thrones universe from Dark Knights of Steel is basically what I want
that
to
would
see.
be good. I mean, yeah, no, I'll take that. I'd like it. Thank you.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I realized when I was reading this book is because I was reading Harley in this book is like her New York accent. Like, hey, Puddin', what are you doing? Or I'm not going to be very good at that. But when I was reading this, I'm like, okay, Harley Quinn would 100% have like a Cockney accent.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
I'm not even going to try to justify that. But anyways, Harley Quinn would definitely have like a more soup plate. I can't do it. Okay, sorry.
Lisa, I want some more.
More soup. But dang right, I don't know. I can't. Don't make me do British accent.
We don't get paid enough to do this. If somebody wants to give us a super chat, we'll do that. But
Yeah.
please don't, because I don't want to do that. But Fire Guy Ryan, oh, never mind.
Sorry.
I guess we're going
No.
to that. I was gonna say
Sorry, no.
Fire Guy Ryan gave us the sweet transition. We were gonna just jump right over to the little Tiny Onion book that returned this week.
Yeah.
Called Nice House on the Lake, number 7.
Number
And
7.
alongside Nice House on the Lake, number 7, came out the first volume of Nice House on the Lake, which was issues 1 through 6, which I actually really, really liked, because then it's like people can pick that up. They can pick up issue 7 afterward. How do you feel? Because it's been a couple months since we've had Nice House on the Lake. How do you feel with it coming back?
So I ended up buying the trade, but I probably should have read it, because whenever I got issue number 7, I had no clue where the fuck I was. Like,
Same.
I was like, wait, issue number 6 ended on something completely different, and like now we're jumping, and I don't
And
know.
it doesn't help with a book like Nice House on the Lake. We transition a lot between what is going on now and things that our characters have experienced with one another in the past. So it's kind of jarring with not reading it for 6 or 7, or not 6 or like couple months, however long it's been.
Yeah.
It can be very jarring. And I feel like I've consistently said this with every issue, where it's like when the issues start, I'm like, why am I still reading this book? I don't understand what's happening. And then you get to that halfway point and it drags me back in again. And I felt like issue 7 consistently did that again. This is definitely one of those books where you need to read it all in one go. I stand by. I feel like this should have been an OGN, because it is so complex. There are so many moving pieces, so many working pieces. I mean, with issue 1 alone, I felt like I was taking notes to keep track of where I was, because there's so much going on. And that's not a bad thing. I think it's a very good thing, because there is so much time and effort put into this book. But it's very jarring.
It is. And I don't know if I didn't realize this in the first 6 issues, but the character that's trans, I don't know if that was a reveal in this book, or if I missed it earlier, if it was just that subtle.
No, they said that Nora had transitioned, I believe, in the first issue, actually.
Okay,
because there was a line, and I may be wrong, because it's been forever since I've read the first issue, but I think that there was a line where they called her Norm, and then they said, this was my first time meeting Nora.
Okay, so
It
maybe
was something very subtle, but it's something that has been discussed a couple times throughout the series.
Man, maybe I don't know, that just went like way over my head, but then I feel like they specifically they lean into that heavy in this book. I'm glad that this book is single issues. I don't think that it would be as popular or have the pacing that it does, because like there is that, like, I kind of feel like a reveal at the end, where it's like, the end of the book, you leave it with more questions than you have answers. And I feel like the last issue did end on that, which is why 7 felt so jarring to pick up, in my opinion.
Stapled Spine wants to know, is there any other extra trinkets in the trade?
If you don't mind waiting a few moments, I can go grab my copy.
Or Fire Guy Ryan coming in with the win for us.
Thank you.
Trade has a variant cover gallery and a character guide at the back. And I think that character guide is extremely helpful, because there are a lot of times, there's a lot of characters in this book. There's like 7 or 8, maybe 9 characters, and they're all wildly different, but at the same time, there are moments where they all feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes with the art style, you can kind of forget characters or they can kind of blend in. And
Now, really quick, I want to say, because we're talking about the character guide, this character guide is also at the back of issue 7.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. So this is the back of issue 7 right here. And then this is the very back of the trade.
Okay, so it's in both, which is extremely helpful.
Yeah. I noticed that at the end of the issue, I didn't notice because I didn't pick this up and read it before, which I should have totally done Ryan style. Now that I like actually looking through this, I'm like, okay, maybe I really should have read it.
It's a complex book, but I feel like this is going to be one of those books that a lot of people talk about. I don't want to say, I mean, I do want to say it, but I feel like this is a book that could be taught in school. I really do. Like taught in college courses. It has, in its own way, you're going to hate me for saying this, it has Sandman vibes in terms of its complexity, I feel like.
I kind of agree. I do agree with you there a little bit. Like that's not too triggering of an opinion, but
nice.
Yeah,
I'm safe.
Definitely building that world and like the characters. I see it a little bit. Yeah.
It's still a good book. I still really enjoy it. I still think it's really unique compared to a lot of what we've seen before from the genre. So I'm still down with it.
For sure. I only have one more DC book.
Same.
I think that
I don't want to talk about.
This book feels like it should be like a classic, like rogue, because on the front you have the Riddler, you have Croc, you have Penguin, you have Catwoman. So it feels like it should be different than what it actually ends up being. And it does, I wouldn't say it necessarily does the whole Tom King back and forth through time, but it does. And I'm like, do you not know how to write any other style, my dude?
I listen, we all know, we've said it before. I am the fucking queen, princess, king, whatever of the Tom King Stan Club, okay? I will fight people to the death for this dude and his Batman run. Was not a fan of Batman Catwoman. However, when this was announced, I was really, really excited because I'm like, all right, now's our chance. We can tie this together. You know, obviously, you know, I talked about the Batman and how I saw that on Thursday. Did not care for it. Came home, was like, I want a Batman cleanser. I trust Tom King's Batman because it's the only Batman I seem to like. Read the Killing Time or whatever the hell it's called. Hated it the whole way through. Didn't know what was going on. Like you said, it does a back and forth without even doing a back and forth. And I agree. It feels like every single book he writes does a back and forth. And I
like it's not told linearly.
Literally. And that's, I understand everybody has their style, but seeing it done over and over and over again, it's just frustrating because listen, Tom King has done some of my favorite books of all time. His Batman run, I will literally champion until my death. I think his Batman run is the best Batman story we've ever had. I absolutely adore Mr. Miracle. His vision is what got me into Marvel Comics. What is going on with the books that he's been writing lately? Because this honestly feels just as bad as Batman Catwoman.
I agree. And so one of the things when I was reading this book, I didn't realize Tom King had written it. I was just like, let me go ahead and read Batman Killing Time. And then at the end, I'm like, I hated this. This was not fun. And then I look at the front and I'm like, okay, Tom King. I feel like this book is for someone though. Like I don't necessarily want
It's for Ryan. Ryan is in the minority and really enjoyed the heist vibes. So this book was made for Ryan and no one else.
So
congratulations, Ryan. How do you feel?
clearly Tom King watches the Friday night live show that we do over on Ryan's channel now, apparently. Dangerous Nights Crew.
I just feel like I don't want to say I set myself up for disappointment, but I was looking forward to this so much. Like seeing Tom King being back on another Batman book. I was so excited, and then it was not a good time. It was not fun. I did not have a good time. But I guess it's time to talk about Marvel now.
I've got a couple Marvel books. I
have a couple Marvel books.
Some of them are obviously variant covers for some books, so maybe it's about half of what this is. Since I got Marvel last, and even though I got my books yesterday and I didn't read them all until last night, I still feel like Marvel was the one that I ended up not finishing the most books of. Like there were like two, 3 books for Marvel where I'm like, I'm not even going to finish. I'm going to go ahead and start with those books because...
The ones you didn't read or the ones you did read?
The ones that I did not read.
Okay, what did you not read? And hopefully we don't overlap.
Okay, so one of the books that I couldn't finish was Moon Knight. Why
are you still reading that? We both hate it.
There's moments that I still really like, so I'm still picking it up. But I feel like I'm probably going to put it down now. I'm going to put down Moon Knight.
Time. It's finally time.
One of the other books that I just couldn't finish, and this is definitely like, I don't know why this is still on my pull list, so I'll be getting rid of it. Alien. It's just...
Why? Jennifer, sorry. What issue is that?
10. Issue 10. Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry.
You hurt me. Also, Marvel, where is our Predator comic? Because that was supposed to come out last year and it still hasn't. What is going on?
Sorry, I've got to highlight this. So one of the other books, I was really excited. Like, this is probably the Marvel book that I was most excited for this week. And it was the What If Miles Morales. And you and I had like literally the same experience with this book.
I couldn't finish it. First of all, so this was one of the books where I was like, I haven't read a lot. Let me try to read more so I can have things to talk about today. Personally, when this book was announced, I was like, why? Like, there's no reason for it.
Because Miles Morales is a great character. Issue number 1 is going to sell no matter what, and I'm really surprised this isn't as big of like a.
But he's a great Spider-Man, and I feel like his Spider-Man roots, his relationship maybe sometimes with those characters, that's what makes him a great character. Somebody out there agrees with me. Yeah. But when you take Miles Morales out of Spider-Man, you lose half of that, you know, and it turns into this story of it's literally like just what if Miles was Captain America? I mean,
that's exactly what that is.
What if his uncle was Bucky Barnes? But it doesn't add anything to the Miles character. No, it almost feels like boring fan fiction.
It definitely felt like it was more of a Captain America book maybe than a Miles Morales book, and I think that's why, is that I felt Captain America being forced on Miles Morales rather than like, and I get it because that's how most what if books have to be because they're so short.
Yeah, but if we're doing like what ifs, I want like wacky what ifs. Like, what if Spider-Man was the Punisher? Like, that's wacky. Like, give me the wackiness. Don't give me, this feels too safe.
It does.
This is way too safe. This is like cut copy. What do we think is going to sell? Miles Morales is the hot fucking character right now. Same with this whole goddamn Gwen-verse that we're getting next month. And it's like, why are you doing that? It just feels like we're bloating comics to attempt at what sells and what's popular rather than giving characters that maybe should have their own series. Like, I don't know, a certain very popular character by the name of Scarlet Witch that could benefit from a full-blown series, have character development, and
instead of it being like Trial of Magneto, where it's basically a Scarlet Witch book.
It's just really annoying. Yeah. Marvel, what the fuck?
I want to do Marvel, I'm also here to propose to you. Can we get like, what if Captain America punched a neo-Nazi? Can I get that? What if?
No, because you already got what if Captain America was actually a Nazi?
That is true, but punched a neo-Nazi.
It's just too much.
I feel like we do get that anyways with like the Ta-Nehisi Coates run, but okay, so I only have 3 more books to talk about. 3? Maybe
3?
more than
Do
that.
I have 3?
I've got 4.
I have 3.
Yeah, I've got 4 books. Okay.
I have 3. I think this is the most Marvel books I've read in a single week.
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately think it is. It's insane.
Yeah. Let me go. Sorry, I'm reading some of these comments here, but I know one of the books that both you and I got was this one, Daredevil.
I didn't read it. It was on my list and I completely forgot it. Honestly, I wasn't a fan of issue 2. I feel like issue 1 I was only really excited about because I was on like my Daredevil binge and my Daredevil kick, and it gave me everything I wanted. It gave me, Elektra and Daredevil boinking. It gave me Wilson Fisk. It gave me Wesley. And then when I got to issue 2, I'm like, okay, it's average, I guess.
This series felt the ending of this, so this is issue 3 of like the little 3-issue mini series of Daredevil Woman Without Fear, and it feels like I don't even know why we needed this now at this point, because what if Marvel put out a good What If book? Yeah, I agree. And I love What If. Travis, TM, we both love What If books. What if Captain America punched Richard Spencer 100%, and
100%.
Born in the USA needs to be playing in the background per usual. So anyways, Daredevil Woman Without Fear. I don't know why we needed this miniseries, because right now Elektra has taken over the Daredevil mantle and was doing that in the main Daredevil run. We should have just gotten her backstory, or like whatever this was trying to do, in the mainline Daredevil book. But I guess because and then it's like, okay, well, this is all going to be concluded in the like Devil's Reign. And so I was like, we literally didn't need the series. We just needed...
It's all silly. It's all made up and the points don't matter.
No. And I mean, we are getting Elektra number 100 in the next couple of weeks, so who knows. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate
it. It was not, I don't know, I didn't care for it. But speaking of Devil's Reign, I read Devil's Reign X-Men number 2. Did you read that?
That came out this week.
That came out this week. Oh my God. You heard it here first, y'all. I'm a bigger X-Men fan than Jennifer. I am the X-Men stan, okay? So this... let's be honest, y'all. I'm reading it because Emma Frost is at the forefront. I was reading this specifically because I was hoping that Wilson Fisk and Emma Frost would boink. Weird, I know, but listen, it's a power couple. It would be cool. I think it would be neat. It's whatever. Wilson Fisk doesn't even show up in this issue at all, so obviously they did not boink. It's very unneeded, unwarranted, very boring. It's Elektra and Emma Frost smuggling out this small child who has dialogue that should be coming from a grown adult, not a 5 or 6-year-old child. It was very jarring, very weird. The small child used the word fuck at one point, and I'm like, what is happening? Okay. However, Phil Nota's artwork is just amazing, and I love the way that he draws Miss Emma. I just like the way he draws, period. However, this made me realize I need and want a Emma Frost series or mini-series, and not like a slutty, sexy Greg Horn does the covers and they're hanging on my wall in my childhood bedroom, and my mom comes in and rips them down because she's like, what the hell kind of Playboy shit is this? I want a good, solid Emma Frost mini-series or ongoing series, whatever you want to give me, something that really develops her character. We can see her interact with different characters, because there's a really neat moment in this book where Spider-Man shows up. Don't know why Spider-Man showed up, but Spider-Man shows up, and Emma Frost, touches him on the forehead, And I guess with Emma Frost's powers, because I am the X-Men stan and I know everything about X-Men. Emma
Like,
Frost has powers.
Is your favorite book?
Box. It's somewhere in one of these boxes, but Emma Frost can, I guess, like see into your mind basically and kind of feel your thoughts and feel your memories. Okay, cool. That's a real thing. I totally knew that.
Like, yeah.
Totally knew that. But there's a really, it's weird and out of place, but it was my favorite moment of the book where she touches Spider-Man's head and she sees flashbacks of like him holding Gwen Stacy's body, him seeing the death of Uncle Ben, going through a lot of these iconic Spider-Man moments, because I'm assuming this book is in the past, not in the present, with the way that it is coded. But she looks at him and she's like, "You're just a boy and you've gone through so much." And I'm like, this is what I crave, is character moments like this for Miss Emma. Okay, listen, if you want me to write an Emma Frost book, yes, I will write the Emma Frost book of your dreams. Okay,
write your Emma Frost fan fiction and get it published.
I wonder how Emma Frost is such a popular character, yet she's only had one really cringy early 2000s with covers by Greg Horn series where she was basically a preteen teenager that was very sexy and very weird. It's not a good book. 10 out of 10. If you are going through an Emma Frost phase like I am, 10 out of 10 do not recommend reading that book because you will be upset.
Probably. And I think, so I'm kind of sad that I didn't read this because I feel like a moment like that between Emma Frost and Spider-Man, like even though this is, I feel like this would not be the book to have it in. I feel like that's so tender and I love that.
I do. I love tender moments.
Oh. Okay. And I think that was only like a 2-issue miniseries, right? Like
3, I think. I think there's one more. So will I read it? Probably. Am I going to complain about it? Probably. Is Phil Nota's artwork going to be gorgeous?
Of course.
Probably.
Is Gary Duggan, is he writing it?
Gary Jerry Duggan Dugan.
Gary Jerry Duggan. So fun fact, story time, this past week or maybe the week before on Twitter, someone posted like, "Hey, what comic book creator do you want to know how to pronounce their name?" And I'm like, yo, I need someone to pull through like Gary Jerry Duggan, please. And someone said, I think I forget, but I'm pretty sure that someone said that it's Jerry Duggan.
I like our version better. I just think it's funny.
Gary Jerry Duggan. So until he, I don't know, if you agree to come onto the show, please, and tell us how to pronounce your name. I will talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yes, please.
One of the books that we did read, or you know what, let me go ahead and talk about this one really quick because we're talking about X-Men. So X-Men number 9 came out, and
as the X-Men stan, I totally read it.
You totally read it because
you read it
on X-Men.
Can totally tell you what happened. Cyclops was a little bitch.
Oh well.
Professor Xavier said some dumb shit.
He was like,
Wolverine said, "I am the best there is at what I do," and then threw Laura Kinney and Honey Badger at the same time.
Yes.
I don't know what happened in this book, Jen. Please tell me.
No worries. So, we get a little bit of a conclusion from last issue with MODOK, but then we go, of course, to the Quiet Council doing what the Quiet Council does. We get Storm just being a baddie, but I'm going to tell you my favorite part about this book is that the last half of this book is basically just Destiny sitting at a bar trash talking her daughter Rogue and Gambit, and basically saying, "Rogue, you disappointed me so much by starting to date Gambit."
Wait, whoa. Can we pause and go back? What is this about Destiny and her daughter Rogue?
So like technically like Rogue is like Mystique's daughter, but you know, Mystique.
Wait, what?
As the X-Men
stand. Wait, whoa. I thought Nightcrawler was her son.
I mean, like, yes, also, yes.
So are they step siblings?
I guess, yeah.
Are you talking? So wait, are we talking about? Wait a minute, because I know that there's like a weird relationship between Mystique and Rogue, where it's like a surrogate mom. Is that what
Yeah.
we're talking about? Not biological.
Exactly.
Okay, my
Yes.
brain turned off for about 20 seconds, and I'm like, did I miss something? Okay, this makes more sense. However, if my lesbian moms were in a bar and also told me I'm disappointed in your dating choices, I might eat myself off the building.
Yeah. So anyways, Destiny, well, and it's Destiny, Mystique isn't here, but Destiny is here hanging out in this bar. Basically, good morning from Australia. Mystique is basically just trash talking Gambit. And it's beautiful. And she's basically like, I'm so fucking disappointed in you, Rogue. Like, God damn it. You are a hot bisexual woman and you could have anyone you wanted. And you went with the sad Gambit boy.
I love that. See, it's moments like that that make me want to read X-Men, and then I actually do read X-Men, and I'm like, where's all the fun stuff that Jen was talking about? I think you make this stuff up to try and get me to read X-Men. I think you've been found out.
Maybe just a little bit. But there's a really cool moment at the end of this book where it basically sets up X-Men Red, where Storm is going to be like the goddess. Here, let me...
I love that Storm design. That Storm design is like absolute power, beautiful. There should never be another Storm design other than that one. Let's be honest.
So true. And I bought like 4 variant. I pre-ordered like 4 variant for that because, of course, I did. So, anyways, the winner, the moment of the week was definitely in X-Men, where Destiny just basically gets drunk and is like, I fucking hate you, Gambit. God damn it, you ruined my fucking daughter, Rogue. So yeah. I did also, I want to go ahead and show these variant covers off. So I got this. Like I said, my partner went and picked up my Marvel books, and he was like, hey, there's a cover with Jubilee on it. I think you'd really like it. And I'm like, yo, I pre-ordered these books months in advance.
I love it.
But then I also got this Scotty Young Strange variant and this X-Men Storm Natasha Bustos, which if you saw the cover of the video, there you go.
Gorgeous.
Okay, I've got 2 books to talk about.
I have 1.
Okay, I know which one that's going to be.
Listen, y'all, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Okay, this was another book. I'm like, shit, I have no books to talk about this week. What came out this week? What could I possibly tolerate? And my focus landed on Strange #1. I'm going to preface this. I have never read a Doctor Strange comic in my entire life. I don't really like the dude. Benedict Cumberfuck is weird to me. I mean, do I think he plays the role nice? Yeah, sure. But Doctor Strange doesn't do anything for me. I'm sorry if that's your favorite character and I just insulted him. But Doctor Strange is just to me.
I think like, you have a new favorite character that you like.
I was like, shit, I gotta read this book where Doctor Strange's ex-wife is now the new Doctor Strange. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I didn't even know Doctor Strange could pull a woman like that and get married like that, but he does.
She could have any woman she wanted, and she chose the sad gamer boy.
She chose the sad gamer boy, man. It's the life of a bisexual. It's fine. But this, I'm assuming, I think her name's Clea. Is that right?
Clea? Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, Clea is a bad bitch. I think she is my new favorite character. The way that I reacted, what was it, 2 years ago when I first encountered Elsa Bloodstone, I think it was the same reaction to Clea. This book opens up. First of all, this book apparently comes hot off the press of Death of Doctor Strange. So, it does. So all you really need to know is he died. He told his ex-wife, gave him, hey, you can have my little Eye of Agamotto. Are you proud of me? I know terms. I'm good. You can have this little Eye of Agamotto. You are now the Sorcerer Supreme. I'm like, okay, cool. That's all I need to know. So this book opens up with good old Dr. Doom, who I love. I love Dr. Doom, okay? That's cool. I got feelings about Dr. Doom, okay? Dr. Doom shows up and it's like, hey, Eye of Agamotto belongs to me. First of all, First of all, somebody who does not read has read like one Doctor Doom book, and that was Children's Crusade. Can somebody explain to me why Doctor Doom thinks he's entitled to it? Because it makes no sense to me. I thought you were just a man with a weird face and you owned a country. Why do you think you're the Sorcerer Supreme?
Because I think
he just wants everything.
I just think that he wants everything.
So he's a dickhead. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. So he's every shitty ex I've ever had. Fine, perfect, great, love it. So he shows up and he's like, "Yeah, you can give this to me," and she's like, yeah, no, you thought, but I'm gonna throw you out. Goodbye. Get on with your life. And I'm just like, stop the press. Who is this? I love her so much. And then it's just like weird fantasy magical stuff. And Wong shows up, and I was a little surprised because Wong looks very different than what he looks like in the movies.
He does. Was it me, or did they very much whitewash his character? I'm like, I thought his character was, I don't know.
Weird. It was bizarre. It was weird. I also learned fun facts like her uncle is Dormammu, which is kind of neat to me. I think that's kind of neat. I think that this is a character that could have kind of like a really cool dark streak, like inner turmoil where it's like, oh, my family is bad and evil and has that conqueror streak in them, and I also want to be a conqueror.
Ooh, so go like Daenerys from See, when I read this,
but like good Daenerys.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know. I thought she was neat. I think my one gripe with this issue is I hated the artwork. I think the artwork in this book is extremely ugly. The whole time,
I love it.
The whole time I'm like, but hear me out. I'm about to change your life. The whole time I'm like, what if Stephanie Hans did the interior work?
Yeah.
And imagine how beautiful and fantasy-like and just gorgeous and ethereal this book could be.
What if we get a Clea Scarlet Witch book and Stephanie Hans does the artwork?
Hear me out. Let's just do a badass
like magic ladies. What if they all do like a coven, like the craft?
What if we did like a female Defenders? Because again, my brain not as good with Marvel as it is with DC. I'm still learning. But from my understanding, the Defenders that was in Netflix was not the real Defenders, and Defenders is typically Doctor Strange is in that mix somewhere.
Yeah.
Hear me out. I pose to you, Marvel. Let's have a team up of Clea, Scarlet Witch, Elsa Bloodstone, and give me like two others. I don't know. Emma Frost could be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And like She-Hulk. I don't know. Just make this Mars's ultimate fantasy ride. I
want to see all the witches of Marvel get together and do the craft. I want to see the craft.
But can we add Elsa Bloodstone in there because she is like a monster magical hunter? So if we did, okay. So hear me out. Okay, we got Nico from the Runaways. We got Scarlet Witch. We got Clea. We got Elsa Bloodstone. And we need one more. You gotta have 5. You always have to have 5.
I feel like even though she's not magic per se, like I want Storm in it.
It could work. That could work. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I like Clea. I want to see more Clea, but I think I want to see her interact more with like other characters that I like. I'm being selfish when saying that, but like I would like to see more of this character. I think she could be a lot of fun.
I agree. So I'm really glad that I'm glad that we're getting this, and I feel like there are so many good moments where, like, especially Dr. Doom comes in is like, this is like I'm the rightful heir to the Sorcerer Supreme, and she's like,
why?
Like, he was my husband, he gave it to me. No, it's mine. And then not only that, but she like proceeds to like just fucking take it, and she earns it, I think.
Okay. Okay, Jarrell's coming in. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but thank you. Wing, winner.
Yeah, thank
ding,
you.
Ding, ding.
I heart this 100%. And it needs to be like, I don't know, maybe like time traveling witches of Marvel. They do like a craft type thing. Also, I would 100% recommend the Defenders series that just ended a month or two ago with Doctor Strange, because it gets into like a little bit of occult, a little bit of like tarot type stuff, a little bit of weird science-y.
I think what we're describing is 1602 Angela of Asgard.
Oh, I want Angela.
I feel like we're just describing this run. So for y'all that have not read 1602 Angela, please read that, because it's one of my favorite. Oh man, you want to talk about doing things with characters that are just unique and weird, kind of like Dark Knights of Steel. 1602 will do it for you.
That's true. Well, I've only got one more book.
What do you got?
And this
Of
book
course.
continually ends up
Do they
being...
boink? Did they boink again?
I really want to talk about this one, and I'm going to spoil it a little bit, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. So, Mars, do you know what... For me, the biggest thing that was missing from the MCU Thanos movies, the biggest thing that was missing from it.
Thanos boinking.
Thanos boinking.
Thanos simping over death.
Thanos simping over death. So that was the thing that was like 100%.
Oh wow, that was actually the right thing. I hit that nail on the head.
And
Nice.
as we know from my previous reviews of The Thing by Walter Mosley and Tom Riley, is that The Thing totally gets to do the monster smash with Amaryllis. So he is, and Doctor Doom, it's weird because Doctor Doom shows up in this book too.
What the hell? Is Doctor Doom just showing up in everything? He's like, listen, y'all, I'm gonna be a part of everything.
So I read this, and then I also read Strange, and I'm like, wait, what? But it's obviously a completely different universe, and this is 100% a spoiler alert for The Thing issue number 5. This is the penultimate issue, but at the very end, it's revealed, once again, spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know, it's revealed that the Thing's girlfriend is Death. And she's basically like, what does she say? She's like, for the first time since the dawn of time, I have felt love. Kill Doom as you were fated to, and then come rule the empire of death with me, beloved. So Death has a type.
As big monster men.
Big monster boys, yeah.
Nice. Love that for her. I just love that last year it was Beta Ray Bill for you. This year it's The Thing. Who are you banking on for 2023?
All day, every day, 365, 24/7. It's always going to be Swamp Thing.
No, somebody from Marvel. It's got to be something from Marvel.
Someone from Marvel.
What is going to be that Monster Smash book in Marvel? Because like I said, 2021 it was Beta Ray Bill. 2022 it's The Thing. What's it going to be for 2023?
I don't know. Maybe this year will finally be my year, and it's maybe not a
Mephisto.
Oh no, I was going to say
count.
It's well, I mean, I also really love like Magneto, but I really want to see like more Magneto just fucking smashing it, like literally on everything.
That'd be great. God, I would read that book.
100%, right? So anyways, this series is probably going to be one of my favorite Marvel series. I think this is going to be my Beta Ray Bill for this year, for sure.
Oh, it definitely is. 100% is. I love that, like, you bring out these books like Beta Ray Bill, like Thing. Characters I could never see myself get invested in. I'm like, damn, I want to read that book.
I do not like any like Fantastic Four. Like, I mean, obviously I really liked Fantastic Four life story written this past year, but so Death has Deadpool and now The Thing and Forever. Yeah, 100%.
I hate that. I just want to see Thanos happy.
I kind of do too. But where I feel like he kind of is in Silver Surfer Rebirth, the series, but I don't know. It's not that great of a series. So those were all the books that I read. I read all of those last night.
It was a short week this week. It was a very week this week. I'm hoping next week is better. I'm hoping I just miss I don't know, comics. I feel like 2022 so far hasn't done too much for me. Like there hasn't really been a series that I'm like, yes, I need. For me,
that's Bolero.
Okay, I like. Maybe it is that. Maybe
I really love Bolero. I think that there's a lot, but I think that more and more it's the big two that are coming through where I need more indie books. I need more solid independent books is what it is for me.
I agree.
For sure.
I mean, I'm taking a quick look. I mean, because we're finished so early. Yeah. I'm taking a quick look at next week, and it's like, all right, we got Superman, Son of Kal-El, Punisher #1 comes out.
Okay, I'll probably be
fun. We got Devil's Reign, Moon Knight #1, which could be a little bit better. You got Spider-Gwen-Gwenverse #1, which
finally I'm excited for
that. Captain Carter #1 is big next week. Trial of the Amazons #1. There's a lot of #1s next week. Radiant Red.
When do we get Wonder Woman Historia? I thought we were promised that in February.
I think that's March or May. I think it's going to be a long while before we see that. Oh, Women of Marvel #1. So we'll see if
Hated last year's.
We'll see if that Naomi season 2 comes out next week.
Excited.
We got Hit Me #1 from Upshot, which seems like it could be really good. And We Live comes out next week.
Okay.
So yeah, we're definitely way past what do you call it on that? But again, everything that I talked about, most of it is the big two. Like, where are all these indie titles? You know, I don't know.
Don't know. I was checking my calendar to see, not necessarily like comic book releases this upcoming week, but if you are in the Portland area, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, the 16th, David F. Walker and Douglas Wolk, who wrote all of the Marvels, are going to be having a little chat. So tickets are still on sale for that. It's at the Alberta Rose Theater. So that's going to be here in Portland. I got tickets to it, so I know I'll be going to that next, not the 9th, but the 16th.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. Very cool.
I think that's it for us today. I think we're gonna wrap it up early this week. I think we're gonna let everybody get back to their Sunday. I know I personally, listen, I'm itching to. My partner bought Pokemon Arceus yesterday, which was a big mistake because I spent all morning playing it, and I'm probably gonna spend the rest of the afternoon playing it until they get home. And then I'm gonna have to relinquish rights, and so I gotta get as much as I can.
Get in while you can.
Listen, that's the one downside about having a partner that likes to game as well, is you have to share. You have to share those games. And listen, it's not fun.
See, as someone who is definitely not the like gaming partner in the relationship, like I'll rock some D&D or I'll like, play some Skyrim, and that is it. They are currently playing Elden Ring at right now. So
that's
I know that. Yeah. Excellent. Well, Mars, thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to next Sunday to another casual
comics. It'll be a blast.
It'll be a blast. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Really appreciate you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.